And what Ruth Padel has done in her book, her first poem is a fantastic poem in the book, but it seems to me that the whole book moves towards the very last line of the book, which is a fantastic line, and it is, "Making is our defense against the dark." And surely that's what all poetry does. Surely in the dark times that we are living through, then making is our defense against the dark. And in her book, Learning to Make an Oud in Nazareth, she looks quite a lot at that interesting place, the Middle East, that's been interesting in the past and the present and the future. And she looks at it as a maker. She makes things out of that place. She makes poems out of that place. She learns to make an oud in that place. And in the middle of the book, there's a sequence about Christ's 7 last words from the cross. And again, that's about making. It's about the fact that in agony and in redemption, then we reach for language. And as she also says, in a wonderful line in the book, we break the line to shape it. Because that's what poets do. We don't just listen, we don't just record. We can redraft, we can rewrite, we can break the line to shape it, which is what Ruth does, Ruth Padel.
Thank you. Thanks, Ian. Olives in blue tissue mist. Sunrise in the Wadi, one Friday in spring. Wild almond in bloom. Leaves of the rock rose, green on grey stone. 3 gazelles on the ridge, running. But you're on your back, facing sky like mother of pearl, in a body you can't climb out of. If you could turn your head, you'd see dry stalks of last winter's grass lit by rays you feel you could touch, rays like ingots of fluff, spokes of a broken wheel, almost horizontal, piercing a halo of dust round visitors coming up the path from town. Alone last night at full moon, you prayed so hard your sweat was blood. Capillaries broke like straw and leaked into your pores. Handcuffed, you found others to care about. The guard who whacked you in the mouth for keeping silent under questioning. Squaddies expert in the flay, who sliced skin off your back and shoulders. The centurion with digital timer who posed by your naked body. Anything goes at the checkpoint, the cell, the interview room. Untied, you slumped to flagstones purple as Judas blossom with your blood. A laughing soldier wove barbed strands of caper bush. In Hebrew, avionach, also called desire, whose white buds freckle the slopes at Capernaum like talc, into a crown of claws and pushed it through the vascular fretwork of your scalp. But now you're with the experts. They do this week in, week out, jam someone's naked spine and scapula, oozing sheafs of opened muscle against rough timber, like this lumber you've dragged through the city. They tie your arms to the T-beam, allowing for flexion. They've been told to ratchet up the pain. You can't hope for the easy option. Nails in the hollow below the wrist, the only use metal way of making sure the hand won't shred on the whole boiling cascade of the cross. No, with rope to take your weight, the man with mallet and spike can safely penetrate the star center of your palm, where life curve crosses line of the path of the heart, and the ulnar nerve begins its delicate run, each arm through brachial plexus, root nerve, nape, and on up the back of your skull will feel on fire for the duration. The who knows how many hours this Friday business will take. There's more where that came from. The whole human brew of jealousy and spite. So you displace. You think of the others. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. We've all been given very nice little bottles just backstage for the water. Learning to make an oud in Nazareth. The first day, he cut rosewood for the back, bent sycamore into ribs, and made a belly of mahogany. Let us go early into the vineyards and see if the vines have budded. The sky was blue above the Jezreel Valley, and the gilt dove shone above the Church of the Annunciation. The second day, he carved a camel bone base for the fingerboard. I sat down under his shadow with the light. The third day, he made a nut of sandalwood and a pickguard of black cherry. He damascened a rose of horn, lustrous as underleaves of olive beside the sea. I have found him whom my soul loves. He inlaid the sound hole with ivory swans, each pair a valentine of entangled necks. And he fitted tuning pegs of apricot to give a good smell when rubbed. The fourth was a day for cutting high strings of camel gut. His left hand shall be under my head. For the lower course, he twisted copper, pale as tarmac under frost. He shall lie all night between my breasts. The fifth day, he laid down the varnish. Our couch is green, and the beams of our house are cedar and pine. Behind the neck, he put a sign to keep off the evil eye. My beloved is a cluster of camphire in the vineyards of En-Gedi, and I watched him whittle an eagle feather, a plectrum, to celebrate the angel of improvisation who dwells in clefts on the Nazareth ridge where love waits and grows if you give it time. Set me as a seal upon your heart. On the sixth day, the soldiers came for his genetic code. We have no record of what happened. I was queuing at the checkpoint to Galilee. I sought him and found him not. He'd have been in his open-air workshop. I called, but he gave me no answer. The self-same spot where Jesus stood when he came from Capernaum to teach in synagogue, and townsfolk tried to throw him from the rocks. Until the day break and shadows flee away, I will get me to the mountain of myrrh. The seventh day, we set his wounded hands around the splinters. Come with me from Lebanon, my spouse. Look from the top of Shenir and Hermon, from the lions' dens. On the 8th, there were no more days. I took a class in carpentry and put away the bridal rug. We started over with a child's oud bought on eBay. He was a virtuoso of the oud, and his banner over me was love. For this last poem, which I've shortened a bit, I'm on the beach at Aldborough just before sunrise by the monument to Benjamin Britten. Facing east. Iron cloud on the horizon splices day from night like west from east. On the news is flat-to-flat urban warfare in Aleppo and air attacks on Gaza. In kitchens, at the Tuesday evening pub quiz, how quickly arguments flare up even in England, even if we've never been to what we call the middle of the East. We identify. Some chasm through the centre must be in and of us all, creatures of relation and division, always wrong-footed by the past on its bed of ice, the subtectonic clash of ancient histories on common ground. What will survive are meanings we have found in what the world has made, like the play of light on Damascus twist, the iron-plat steel of sword blade and gun barrel, the mystery metal welded in carbon fire, which can cut a rifle muzzle or a hair floating across a dagger, whose laminate spirals, acid-bitten into waves, resemble damask. What would we be without desire for form? Pattern keeps us safe. We look for omens in a flock of redwing, the outline of a story in the stars. We break the line to shape it, string catgut over membrane, set up a 10-foot memorial to music in shale of an eroding coast and turn it east to face the storm. I watch dawn gild the sea to iridescence, see birds arc and squawk and flicker print the air, breakers roar on draining shingle, palmetto patterns dint the waves from grey to silver, hyacinth and jade. Making is our defense against the dark.